going to jump into the Apocrypha for today. So, if you want to grab that. If you don't have it, it's alright. I got a solution. Some straight back-breaking work the other day. This pre-apprentice too, was holding it down. Had these heavy steels for the welders. We had to set up these racks. These things are like this tube steel, 1/4 inch thick, like that. Some of those things are like 15 feet long. They got some weight to it. I was doing good. I could tell throughout the day without food. I only get one lunch, but we're taking like 10-minute breaks, so I'm trying to starve some food down. By the end of the day, I was wearing all those things start getting heavy. In the morning, you're like, well, good. It's nothing. So we'll make sure we use the forks a little bit more than we could. Don't be slower, but with the war of attrition, I got to win the war. I can't just win the battle, do good for 3 days, and then burn out the rest of the week, you know? But, see what's up. I felt it in my back in a good way, though. Like, it felt like a workout, but I could see if you continue to do it through repetition, it could turn. Like, we go to the gym and you need to rest. You put too much pressure, doing skull crushers or going heavy dips all the time, you get the little tendonitis right there. And you're going too heavy on the arms, even though you're getting bigger arms, you start getting the tennis elbow right there, like, you know? So, make sure we use the lift a little bit more, proper lifting positions. It's like borderline doing squats. Some of these things are like, yeah, putting it on the table. It's got some weight. But definitely thank the Almighty. Pressing. It's a major blessing. Appreciate you guys. You guys ready for service? Ready to get on the mic? Ready to open the scriptures? Definitely. Next time we get post time. And so, welcome to True Hebrews United of the Almighty Yeshua. Definitely give all honor, all praise, all glory to the Creator of heaven and earth and everything that is in therein. The author and finisher of our faith. Without him, we could do nothing. We could be nothing. He's the one that gives us our health, our children, our family, our friends, our jobs, employment, gas in the tank, food in the fridge, clothes on our back. Without him, we'll be nothing, can do nothing, can accomplish nothing. He gives us the ability to establish wealth, the ability to bless others, and allowing us to come into his Sabbath, allowing him to come into his truth, allow him to come into his commandments. We give him honor because we know a lot of people hold up this Bible, but the majority, 99% of the people that hold up the Bible is going to the lake of fire. Because there is a Jehovah's Witness, Baptist, Episcopalian, Latter-day Saint, what the Methodist, whatever, Apostolic, Pentecostal, all that stuff. Just because you know that he's allowing us to come to this truth, opening our eyes to where we can see, open our ears to where we can hear, open our hearts, that way we could convert over, you know, give all the glory and praise to him through his son, Yeshua HaMashiach. Double honor to the apostles, the prophets, evangelists, teachers, the elders, the bishops, the deacons across the whole planet. Definitely thank the Almighty for them that's trying to get it done. Pray for the people in Sudan and places in Africa that are getting murdered and slaughtered, and kids getting kidnapped and everything by the Muslims, persecuting the people that believe in the Holy Scriptures. Pray that you strengthen the believers of the Holy Word that thinks upon his name, and give them deliverance. You know, avenge us of our oppressors. All the people across the world as well, you know. Definitely all the brothers and sisters that keep the Almighty's commandments, statutes, judgments, precepts, and ways. All the people on the Facebook and YouTube that share, like, subscribe, and comment to the channel. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. I want you guys to make it to the kingdom. I want you guys to be saved. So, what else did I miss? I think that's everything, right? Definitely. Shalom, everyone. Shalom. I was walking today, because I try to get some time with the Most High and stuff like that, get into the book on my personal reading and studying prior to, and I noticed it was like a nice little day out. Nice, oh, you guys can't see, but it's a nice day, right? And the birds were chirping and everything. It's not hot. It's just nice weather, nice little breeze, a nice day. And I just thought, walking on this side, it's like, man, I'm blessed. I am blessed. And sometimes you got to sit back and like, man, I'm blessed. And that's what I was like, what I'm going to teach on that, because, a lot of times I teach on what we're doing wrong, but I never, teach on words of encouragement, as well as who we are and who we belong to, but there's no way, we always got to teach against sin. There's no way around that, right? So go ahead and give me, I want to challenge you guys. Give me Mark chapter 11. Actually, Mark chapter 1. We'll get to 11 in a little bit. Mark chapter 1, starting at verse 1. Mark chapter 1, verse 1. You guys ready? Oh, with all that said and being done, let's let the fingers do the walking and the scriptures do the talking. Let's do it, right? Mark chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning of the gospel of Yeshua Mashiach, the Son of the Almighty of Yah, it was written in the prophets, Behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare ye the way before me. The voice of one crying out in the wilderness, Prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight. John did baptize in the wilderness, preaching the baptism of repentance for remission of sins. And there went out unto him the land of Judea, and they of Jerusalem were all baptized of him in the river of Jordan, confessing their sins. And John was clothed with camel hair, and were girded skin about his loins, and eat locusts with and he did eat locusts with honey. In the meantime, Brother Vince, there was a leper that had to dip himself 7 times. I believe that was in the Jordan. Can you find out if that was the case? I believe it was the Jordan. Can you find that out and then text me that where it's at? The leper that got cleansed. You can probably Google leper got cleansed by dipping in the water 7 times or something, and she'll pull the scripture right up. And John was clothed with camel's hair and was girded about with skins about his loins, and he did eat locusts and honey. And he preached, There cometh one mightier than I after me, the lashes of whose shoes I am not worthy to step down and to unloose. I indeed baptize you with water, but he that shall baptize you with the Ruach HaKodesh. Now this is John the Baptist. This is the one who prophesied that a prophet should come, a messenger should come, and that should come after him. Now look what Mashiach said about this prophet, John the Baptist. Matthew chapter 11. Matthew chapter 11. Verse 1. Matthew chapter 11, verse 1. Let's get it. And it came to pass that Yeshua had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples. He departed thence to teach and to preach into their cities. Now there was John, when he had heard in prison the works of Mashiach, he sent 2 of his disciples, said, Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another? And Yeshua answered and said unto him, Go, shew John the things which you do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, and the dead are raised, and the poor have the gospel preached unto them. Check that out. This is in the poor. He didn't used to say the people. Blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. And as they departed, Yeshua began to say unto the multitude, What went ye out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken in the wind? What went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? They that wear soft raiment are in kings' houses. That's a trip. They got money. But what went you out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, more than a prophet. For this is he whom is written, Behold, I send my messenger before my face, which shall prepare ye the way before me. For verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there have not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom is greater than him. So there's no greater prophet than John the Baptist. There was no greater prophet than John the Baptist, and yet he was poor. He was poor. It is the Jordan River. That's interesting. We're going to get back to John the Baptist being poor. There was a leper that had to humble himself to be saved of his leprosy, to be healed of his leprosy, and he didn't want to dip in the Jordan because his own pride and ego. Because isn't there better places to dip? Isn't there better rivers? Why do I got to go to the Jordan? And because of that, he got healed. And now this same one for salvation, these people had to come to the same Jordan to get saved. They had no problem humbling themselves. Not like the leper. If it wasn't for his fellow servants, he wouldn't have done it and would have lived the rest of his life in leprosy. But it's kind of odd. That just popped out to me. Now back to John the Baptist. Back to John the Baptist. He was the poorest prophet. Now, I'm not going to say the poorest because we got other ones. But in today's standard, you will call him homeless. Because they had houses. He says those in soft raiment live in king's houses or dwell in king's houses. But you went out to a wilderness. He lived in a wilderness, assuming maybe he had a tent, had some kind of shelter, right? So today's standard, you will call him homeless. Now, how many of you guys are humble enough to receive salvation from a homeless man? Because plenty of people got baptized by John the Baptist, and they lived in houses. They lived in the city, in the castle, wherever, right? They went out to see this man preach the gospel. But my main point is he was blessed above measure. He was the greatest prophet born of woman. There's no greater than him. And yet he was a homeless man. And so sometimes you're going to look at your situation and look at your financial, look at your marriage, look at situation with your kids, whatever, on the job, the boss that annoys you, the narcissist, or the people that backstab you or shared your personal information to other people, whatever. You're going to look at your situation and not be happy. And 1 year is going to pass by, 2 years is going to pass by. And you're like, man, this situation is garbage. I've made zero progress in life. Essentially, I wasted the year. And the only people that benefited from me this year is the landlord, the electrical company, the phone company, my cell phone company, the gas station, my car insurance. All these people benefit from my life but me, right? But let's keep going. Give me 1 Kings chapter 17. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was in the inhabitants of Gilead, he was a great prophet. He called fire and brimstone. He brought people back brought people back that was dead back to life. Let's keep going. And said unto Ahab, the Lord God of Israel liveth, before I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain 3 years, but according to my word. And the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Get thee hence and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself from the brook of Cherith that is before thee. And it shall be that when thou shalt drink of the brook, I have commanded the ravens to feed thee. So he went and did according to the word of the Lord, for he dwelt in the brook of Cherith that was before the Jordan. That's a trip. The Jordan again. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. That has to be a major blessing. He was blessed in the Most High, not only because he got to hear from the Most High, but imagine you have Uber Eats in the morning and in the evening. You have Uber Eats just chilling. You just be posted up. You know what I'm saying? A little bird. You look, bam, Uber Eats. Right? Let's keep going. And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. And the word of the Lord Almighty came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zarephath that belonged to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I commanded a widow woman, and there to sustain thee. And he rose and went to Zephyroth. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, a widow woman was gathering sticks, and he called her and said, fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. As she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in my hand. And he said, as the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal, and a barrel, and a little oil cruse. Behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that me go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat and die. And Elijah said unto her, fear not, go and do as thou hast said. Bake me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and afterwards make for thee and thy son. That's to be humbling for her to do that, but she trusted the Most High. For thus said the Lord God of Israel, the barrel and the meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that the Lord sendeth rain upon the earth. So the Almighty took care of that widow woman. But my main point is, this was a powerful prophet, calling fire and brimstone, and killing major prophets, which he's going to do later on, false prophets that is. But the Almighty was with him, but he still had to go live with a widow woman. So to today's standard, you will call John the Baptist, because if you see someone living in the tent now, when there's houses, and there was houses back then, when we read in the time with John the Baptist, you will call him homeless, because when you go downtown, or you go in, the more neighborhoods that's more poverty, you'll see the people living in tents, and not all of them are drugged out. Maybe they lost their job. It could be a woman that her husband was the breadwinner, and her husband died, and she couldn't afford the house, she couldn't afford the car. She tried to get on the work thing, but she couldn't find a job that make enough money. Life happens. It's not that you did the wrong thing if you end up homeless all the time. Some people are drugged out, and some people life just threw them a curveball. Maybe they're disabled and their mom died, so they went homeless. A lot of times they're just mentally disabled, they can't get a job, and their caretakers, which their mom or their dad, end up dying, and then there's no one else to take care of them, right? So you will call him a homeless person, and essentially you will call Elijah a couch surfer. A couch surfer, right? Because they're living on someone's couch, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. When you go into the gym, you're going to start pretty weak, and then you gradually pick up strength. So when you go in there and you look at other people, and same in life, you go and look at other people and what they do and what they accomplish, and you'll envy them. And you're like, oh, that's why it says envy not the wicked. You don't know what it took for him to get that wealth. You don't know what this guy took to get that muscle. Because some of them took roids. And then in about 5 years, they're going to have their first heart attack. Or they're taking HGH, and they're going to have hernia because it enlarges your gut. And a lot of them die in their 40s. Yeah, so you're like, man, that guy looks clean. Yeah, but you don't know what behind the scenes. Don't envy these people. Just get your own, right? But my main point is, we see that the most blessed people weren't the wealthiest, didn't have the best situations. I could bring up Samuel, where the Almighty was with him, and I'm pretty sure he wanted his sons to serve the Most High, but his sons end up rebelling. And Samuel was a powerful prophet. The Almighty was with Samuel, but his sons, for some reason, I don't know how his parenting skills was or whatnot, but for some reason his kids didn't follow him. And I know that has to ache his heart to see his kids not, because he prayed for Saul when Saul was rejected, and he was still praying for Saul. So you imagine he was praying for his own sons that got rejected of the Most High. To know that your sons, you're a servant, a powerful servant of the Most High, and none of your kids chose to live right. That has to bear some merit on you. On, did I parent right? Where did I slip? Where did I go wrong? You know what I'm saying? So, coming back to that, money is not our God. And so when we are broke, or when we're struggling, or when we're going through, we shouldn't get offended, because money's not our God. So if we don't have it, then hey, it shouldn't bother us. And it may not be money. It may just be you're at a dead-end job, and the job takes so much hours out of your time, you can't look for another job, or you're in this situation where you just can't move, or you're just, stuck with this coworker that's prejudiced or don't like you, or that's trying to get you fired. It doesn't even have to be a money thing. It just could be a situation. When you step back and you look at your life, and you're like, dude, the worst that gets me sometimes is I'll go from one year to another. I'm like, I made like zero progress. It's happened like the last 3 years. The last 3 years, I made like zero progress. You know, construction was slow. I went to Phoenix. They make $30 less an hour, so I'm just like breaking even, like just paying the bills, like just like breaking even, like, you know. And I thank the Almighty for that, but as a man, you want growth. You want to see, you produce, you build, you know. Women, they multiply, you know, so, but we build stuff and we want to see progress in life. And when you see a year went by, I wasted a year. I spent my life just to make this landlord rich, just to make T-Mobile, this gas station. Everyone's benefiting from life but me, right? And that's the hardest thing, because you get upset and it gets you frustrated, right? But let's keep going. Give me Psalms. This is why we're blessed. Psalms 37. When you guys do go through that, make sure you don't, when you do get money, make sure, because you've been starved so much. Have you seen someone starve? This is, all right, look at being broke. Where's this thing at? This is a good one. And you tell me if this is similar. Being broke. Oh, I'm not writing backwards today because that takes like a little skill set. So bear with me. Okay, so being broke. Ruin. So it's being broke and starvation. No, it's not backwards, right? So when you're broke, and let's say you get a tax return, because some people, the only time they get thousands of dollars in their bank account is during tax return. And then you're starving, and then you get set a plate of food. You get a good quantity of food. Now, remember, if you've been broke, the majority of people, they're going to spend it on stupid stuff, and then within 1 month to probably 2 months max, not only is the tax return going to be gone, it's going to be their living standard is going to be as if they never had it. It's still going to lead to ruin. I forgot the I. It's still going to lead to ruin. Now, when people starve, I don't know if you know about fasting or whatnot, but in World War II, when people were starving and they gave them food, they were so hungry that they gulped down this food and they died. Because their stomach was so small that it expanded and it killed them. And that's the same thing with money. If you've been broke so long, when you finally get money, it's almost like all rationality leaves. And then you're just, oh, I'm going to get a bag of chips. Oh, I'm going to get this car. Oh, I'm going to get this. Oh, I'm going to get these shoes. Oh, I'm going to. And then 2 months later, it's like you're broke again. So just keep that in mind. It's the same concept. I don't know. You guys agree? Go ahead and type a few. Right? But carry on. Give me Psalms 37. Verse 16. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. Because we're looking for salvation. And so even though we go through our situations, our salvation comes from the Most High. That you could truly walk down the street and be broke and say, I am blessed. And no, I'm going to deal with, I'm not condemning, I am not saying having a broke, a lot of mainly Christian church preach a poverty gospel. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying accept failure. I'm not saying accept poverty. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you may be in a situation in your life, whether it's a job loss, whether it's a setback, whether just a scenario that comes that may set you back, that may put you in the place. You might be in a season. There's a time to gain and there's a time to lose, right? So we're blessed though. And I can still walk by the street without $1 in my pocket. I'm not saying I'm broke right now. I'm working and stuff. But I can say, hey, you know, I'm blessed because the Most High, He's with me. He was with John the Baptist when he was eating locusts and honey. And I don't know where he found that much honey from, but whatever. And he was with Elijah when his brook dried up. And since until he was probably eating better at the brook than with this poor widow woman, because they just had some oil and some meal, some cornmeal or whatnot, right? And so he was with them. And both of them was broke, right? Let's keep going. Psalms 84. Verse 10. For a day in the courts is better than 1,000, and I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my Yah than to dwell in the tents of the wicked. I'd rather just be the doorkeeper, just be outside, be the security guard. I just greet people when they come in, greet people when they come out. I'll rather do that than in the tents of the wicked. Better is the little that a righteous man have, because we have hope. We have something to look forward to. Imagine being broke, but you know you're going to get $10,000 a month when you turn 60. And imagine you being wealthy, but when you get 60, you're going to not have anything. You're not going to have anything. Instant gratification, some people will choose that way. And they do, which is called sin. And so in the day of judgment, they're going to go spend eternity for the lake of fire. And we're going to go into everlasting glory. So yes, we postpone our flesh, or we be broke and be a living sacrifice in this time, but we're looking for new heaven, new earth, and new Jerusalem. We're looking for a kingdom that's not built with man's hands, right? Our hope is in the Most High. And I know that whatever storm comes my way, I'll rather go through it with the Almighty with me than the Almighty against me. Because I've seen all through the Old Testament what happens when the Almighty's against Israel. What happens when the Almighty's against a sinner, against anyone. Nebuchadnezzar, Herod, the king in the New Testament, how angels swoop down. I know what happens when the Almighty's against, and I'd rather go through this struggle and go through my financial or whatever struggle with the Most High than without him. Let's keep going. Let's get the shout outs real quick. Shout outs. Let's get it. Brother Vince, Couture, Gino Wright, Lavinia Yehudium, Jamie DeGelno, Percy Snow, The Queens of Hearts, Raquel White, Occupate, Boring Camp, Mari Ariel, Nava, Zahara Zedek, Nava Kasheth. So, appreciate you guys. I want you guys to make it into the kingdom. So, we have the Most High. Give me James. James, chapter 5. James, chapter 5. We're almost done today. And I do need to do a little bit of news, so it's going to be a shorter service. James, chapter 5. Verse 16. Confess your faults one to another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. To know that I could pray to the person, and that's, for lack of better words, the being or the entity, that created the heavens, the earth, the stars, all the animals, all the plants. And an angel would take my prayer to him, and he could answer my prayer. That out of everyone in this whole world, 8 billion, billion people, whatever, right? That there's only a few people that they could pray to the Almighty, and the Almighty would hear his prayer. The same person that created everything you see in here. We're blessed. We're blessed. Not everyone has a direct phone call to the president. Not everyone could do that. Not everyone could call the president, the Epstein Island presidents or whatever, right? Because it goes like probably 5 presidents back, right? But not everyone has that. Not everyone has whatever popular rappers call where he's just going to answer. Like, you got to be a VIP, if you will, right? To know that out of all these people, few people could call on the Most High and he'll hear their prayer. We're blessed. And it doesn't matter if you're living in a tent or you're a couch surfer or you have a 5-bedroom house, that you live righteous and you live clean and you're keeping his commandments, that he hears your prayer and he sees your tears, or he sees your frustration, or he sees your struggle, or anything. You know, he sees where you're happy or you're joyful. That he sees that. Let's keep going. Give me Proverbs 15. I think what happens is we always think being blessed has to deal with monetary gain. Just the fact that we could pray to the Most High and he hears our prayers, that's blessed. Above all these billionaires, no one on Epstein's island can pray to the Most High and he's going to hear these pedophiles' prayers. None of these false Jews is getting heard. None of these people that have the 5 billion houses and these professional football players breaking the Sabbath, basketball players, all these people that make millions of dollars breaking the Sabbath every single week, he ain't hearing their prayers. They'll make money what they make in 1 year, I won't make in my whole life. But the Almighty hears me and does not hear them. Their prayer, it says the prayer of the wicked is an abomination. He hates their prayer. And he loves mine. And yet they have more money in 1 year than I will ever make. We're blessed. Let's keep going. Proverbs 15. Verse 29. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. We're blessed. Take your time. Some things is seasons. Some things is not a season, but you need to fight your way out of it. The majority of saints of the Most High are lazier than what they think. The majority of people serving the Almighty are lazy. I'm going to take that in perspective. Let's take the saints of the Most High out. Look at every person on the planet. Every person on the planet. They believe that they're a good person. The majority of sinners, there's few sinners that says, yeah, I'm wicked, I'm going to eat your children and this and that and this. No. If you walk by the majority of sinners, even though they cut people off, even though they cuss people, even though if your wallet falls, your phone falls, they'll steal it, even though they generally believe that they are a good person. They believe that. As billions of them are going to go to the lake of fire and go to hell, right? In like manner, the saints are lazier than what we think. We are not good stewards of our time because we have plenty of free time and we don't utilize it. But we're going to come to that at the end. But some things is just a time and a season. There's a time to gain and there's a time to lose. There's a time for that. And then we want our season to just be 3 months. Sometimes the season's like a couple years. Let's keep going. Give me 1 John chapter 3. 1 John chapter 3. Verse 22. And whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight. What kind of blessing is that? To where we can ask of the Almighty and we'll receive it if we keep his commandments and do those things pleasing in his sight. Thousands of people are praying to the Most High every single day. And he's not hearing their prayers because they're wicked. They're willingly breaking his commandments. But you could be one of those few that he'll hear your prayer and he'll consider. And his answer may be no. Oh, I want to go to Jamaica. No, I want you to stay here and be saved. You know, but you get an answer. These people don't get nothing. Like Saul, when he tried to seek the Almighty, no answer was given. When he messed up, he sought the Almighty, no answer was given. Silent treatment, right? Now, the main reason I'm dealing with this is don't let life discourage you. It's easy to deal with it for a couple of months. But dealing with it for a couple of years takes resolve and mental fortification and perseverance. You know, It takes perseverance. I was telling Sister Whitney the other day, it's not only dealing with the outside forces of life and money and relationships and people on the job side and discrimination. It's also being able to fortify yourself against the thoughts within. And typically the thoughts of when hold more weight than the thoughts without. When a kid has low self-esteem, is because they have not flipped the switch in realizing that the outside influences don't have power over you. And so they let racist people, let's use this as an example, oh, you're nappy hair or you're black skin. And they let that become law in their mind. Like, I'm not beautiful because I'm dark. That is a mental illness. I'm not beautiful because my hair is nappy. That you let them create that. But if you grow up and you know that my hair is our crown and our hair is strong, and you grow up knowing that black people are the beginning of everywhere on the planet and they dictate what beauty is because they were the first ones on the planet. Black people were the first ones, and other nationalities are a copy of 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 a copy. Who are you to dictate what beauty is when you came late in the game? We came thousands of years before you. We came way before you. It started with us. Who are you to tell us what we dictate what beauty is, right? But when you're fortified that way, then the outside influences have no power, have no weight over you, right? And then when you say, why do I care about my enemies' opinions about me? They do not like me, so why do I care what they think? I'm going to care about what my mom or my son or my daughter or whoever, the people that genuinely care, my brothers and sisters in the body, the people that genuinely care about me, I care about their opinion because they want the best for me. But the people that don't want the best for me, I could care less what they think. I don't want your validation. I don't want your acceptance, you know? And so don't let the world discourage you. If you stay steadfast in the mind and whatever you're going through, the Almighty, and you know you're keeping the commandments and the Almighty's with you, you're blessed. In the midst of your struggle, when Jeremiah was in that dungeon and sunk in the mud, he was blessed and the Almighty delivered him out, but he didn't want to live anymore. He felt like giving up, but he was still blessed. The Almighty's still with him in that dungeon, right? When he cried unto the Most High. So I'm going to read something out of the Ecclesiastic. Sister Whitney, if you want to post that and run it. Brother Vince, what time you are up on the mic? I wanted for you to get it, but I wasn't sure if you were still asleep or whatnot. Hopefully you're doing all right. But Ecclesiastics cuss out of the Apocrypha, verse 30. And it's powerful. I've read it, and I should have took it to heart because it was something what Sister Whitney was already telling me about it, but I'll get with it. It's Ecclesiastic chapter 30. It's in the Apocrypha. Verse 21 through 25. Did you already copy and paste that? Or she's going to copy and paste it right now. Give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thy own counsel. The gladness of the heart is the life of a man, and the joyness of a man prolongeth his days. Love thy own soul, and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein. Envy and wrath shorten thy life, and the carefulness bringeth age before the time. A cheerful and good heart will have care of his meat and diet. So, don't be discouraged. That's only going to aid you. Man, how am I going to pay the rent or this situation? This guy on the job site is lying on my name trying to get me fired. Yes, we deal with that. You know, we make our phone calls, make our complaints, play the chessboard correctly, and then justice will be served. But we don't let our mind keep us in prison. It's only going to age us. I see people walking down the street all the time, and they just look mean. And then pretty soon, even when they get old, they look like they're grumpy all the time. Smile. If you know you're blessed because we're living holy, then walk like it. I'm blessed and highly favored, but then you live like you're cursed. You live like you're cursed. And sometimes you got to let things go. And so, like a prime example, I'll give you an example. I got a tax return the other day, and first it wasn't as much as I thought, because normally I get a certain amount, and I'm happy about it. All right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. You know how it is when you already kind of spend the money before you got it. So I was like, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to get this done. And I'm talking about getting stuff done. No, I'm not talking about buying some rims or something. I'm talking about getting some stuff done. Like, that money makes me more money, compounded, right? I was like, then it came back, it was low. I was like, man, that sucks. Like, hey, thank you Almighty that at least I got something. Right after I got the tax return, work was slow, so I had to take 2 weeks off. And so the tax return just covered the two. So essentially, I didn't even get a tax return. But you could be like, man, right when I get a break, then I get laid off, man. But once again, thank you Almighty that you gave me a tax return to cover these 2 weeks. Praise the Almighty. Praise the Almighty. Prime example. Another example. Overtime. I wanted overtime, right? So it's kind of like how it worked. And you could say, oh, you're cursed for being a hard worker or something. They like how it works. So there's 3 crews at the shop, and they want me on the other crew. So everyone's kind of behind because these trucks got to go out. You got this huge job. And so anyone that's worth anything, they're trying to like, hey, can he come to my crew? They're all fighting. So he's like, yeah, I'll make the phone call. So he goes to my foreman. It was like, hey, can you get him? He comes back like, yeah, you got to start at 3:30 because their crew starts at 3:30. I was like, okay, because you can't say no. So it's like, 3:30, I got to go sleep. How am I going to go to the gym? All this stuff started going into mind. It's like, bro, I don't want to start at 3:30, bro. That's not cool. But thank the Almighty, I'm able to get the overtime. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to catch up. I'm able to get ahead. I'm going to get this done, get this done, get this done. And praise the Almighty. Prime example, another time. Today, go to my normal spot where I read, run the track. You know what I'm saying? There's this nice little block. I like walking around it. I can seek the Most High. Started my car. It sounded like there was no gas. I'm like, dang. Didn't start. I was like, dang. So then I started again. It started, but I was like, man, dude, more likely it's a starter. Happens on the Sabbath. I was like, all right. You could be like, man, right when I get some overtime, man, my car breaks down. Or you could be like, thank the Almighty that you allowed me to have the extra finances so I could pay for this mechanic and get this starter fixed more likely. It's starting to give out because it took the 4th attempt for it to crank over. So thank the Almighty, because if it broke down 3 months from now, it would have been when I had to come out the paycheck, right? And so it's like, you could complain off of even a blessing. You could complain off of even a blessing. And it's like, these things are going to happen. You will get a flat tire. You will get a dead battery. You will get an alternator that's bad. And you will get a starter that's bad. Those are like the 4 main things that happen. Mainly the tires and the batteries, but you will need that. Your alternator will give out eventually. Your starter will give out, right? So whatever time it happens, it happens. But praise the Almighty, I started getting cranked, been able to come here. So I got to find a mobile mechanic, but I thank the Almighty because it's not going to come out of my normal paychecks. It comes out of some overtime. So I don't even really feel it. You know what I'm saying? I don't really feel it. And so it's a major blessing. And that's why it's like, don't give your mind to heaviness. And another example is this too. Hopefully you can pay attention. Have you ever noticed when you buy a car, say whatever car you're driving, you buy this car, and all of a sudden you start seeing all the cars that you have. It just pops up. All these cameras you have pops up, right? All these cars you have. I was looking at that thing. So bring them on camera. Why is that? Because your mind's on this car. I bought this car, and now every time you see your car, that car pops up. So what happens if your mind's always dwelling on negativity, or things that's wrong, or things that's bad? What do you think's going to pop up? What do you think's going to show? Oh, man, he was supposed to come on time. He's 15 minutes late. All this. Only thing that pops up on your news feed is negativity because that's all you're looking for. Just like the car scenario. You didn't even notice that car until you bought it. Once you bought it, you see it like 5 times a day. Once you start mentally only accepting negative things, then the only thing you could be blessed and say, man, dude, this just sucks that I got my starter's not working. All right, thank the Almighty, He gave me some overtime the other day. It's not even going to come. It's not, I'm able to pay for this and keep moving. Praise the Almighty. Something can happen in your life. By me having the time off, they sent me to the shop, which has allowed me to get unlimited overtime, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? Because it helps out your vacation pay. It helps out everything. It'll make me catch up, right? So it was a blessing. And sometimes we got to go through the fire to be blessed. Sometimes we got to go through the fire to be blessed. Like, imagine if there wasn't a famine. Elijah never got a famine, right? There was never a famine. So Elijah just had his pad or whatnot. But he would have never had the ravens to come and give him the Uber Eats. Like, I would rather go through a famine and see that the Almighty's with me every morning and every day. Like, Almighty just sends me a bird with a meal, some protein so I can get on swole and everything. Like, every single day, like, the Almighty got my back, like a little reminder. I would rather go through the fire and see that miracle every single day than to just not go through anything and have a little peaceful life. Sometimes we got to understand that this stuff is meant to make us stronger. Through these last month, it's been like setback after setback after setback after these last 6 weeks. And none of these things, all these situations are going to be to make me stronger, have perseverance, give me a lesson to learn, bring me patience. I will not let anything to overwhelm my thoughts. And I'm going to stay positive on all aspects of life. I'm going to say, you know what? There is no problems. There's only solutions. How can I adapt through this? What can I do to overcome this? That's what I'm going to receive anything that comes in my life. Yes, you're going to get delays and you're going to get let down and you're going to get frustrated and you're going to get angry. I'm not saying that all emotions disappear, but I can't control the outside things, but I can control how I react to it. It's like the weather. You can't control the weather, right? But can you control how you go outside? If it's raining, how do you go outside? I bring an umbrella, I bring a rain jacket, I bring this and this and this. If it's super hot, how do you go outside? Some of you guys still bring an umbrella, but you'll bring some of you guys do sunscreen, some of you guys do this. You can control how you react to the weather. You can't control the weather. And I can't control what happens to me, but I can control. If I lost my job, I can control and start looking for other jobs. If this situation's happened, I can control this. If this coworker wants to try to insult me or whatnot, I can control how I word my words and make them look dumb, or I'll play the long game or whatever. Go to HR, whatever you got to do. You don't have to crumble and fall or break or do something out of decorum and that leads you to make bad decisions or to tarnish your name or your credibility. Well, let's keep going. Rush patching her marriage. Her algorithm started showing her vids from women complaining about their marriage and divorce. 6 months later, wow, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's almost like they knew and they did it on purpose. I want to doubt if they did that on purpose, but my stuff, my things is like, no, I'm going to look for positive things because then I can always recognize opportunities. I'm always going to recognize opportunities. And so if we're blessed, then we're just looking for blessings. We're looking for blessings. Even today, it didn't start. It took the 4th time to start, so I know my start's going bad. So I'm going to make my moves this weekend. All right, if I only have like 5 or 12 more starts before it's out, I got to find a mobile mechanic. I'm jumping on OfferUp. I'll try to find a mobile mechanic, see if I can get it fixed tomorrow. It's a one-day, little starter's a one-day thing. If I had the tools, I'll probably do it because it's only like 2 bolts for a starter. Some are just harder or easier to get to, right? But praise Almighty, I made it here. And I had service. I didn't have to walk 3 or 4 blocks and try to go to my normal park when I like the nature. Praise God. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to look for blessings in everything. We're living holy, living clean. We're blessed no matter what. A little disclaimer. No. If you are not repentant from sins, you're not blessed. If you're not baptized by a ministry, you're not blessed. If you don't have a congregation, you're not blessed. Yes, the Almighty is showing you mercy and grace, But you cannot be saved without repenting and being baptized. There's commandments you cannot keep without a congregation. There's no way, shape, form you're going to get out of that. So some of this message does not apply to you if you're still living in sin. Now to the news. Now to the news. I only have a couple of things. How much time we got? BlackRock. Yeah, I got 10 more minutes. BlackRock, the world largest asset manager, roughly 26 billion worth of asset. BlackRock. There is no bigger business than BlackRock out there. BlackRock. They're investors, and it could be because the economy's crashing. They're just using the war as an excuse, like they used the COVID, right? The investors, they were blocking people from their money. The investors wanted 1.2 billion in withdrawal requests this quarter. Within these 3 months, they wanted 1.2 billion, but they have 26 billion. What's the problem? They blocked it and they left it a cap. It was roughly 9.39. They wanted roughly 9.37% of their money back. So most people wanted like 9% of their money back, right? They blocked it and they capped it at 5%, only paying 600 million, and then locked the rest. So half of the people that wanted their money couldn't even get their money out of BlackRock. And that's the largest, I think, a couple of banks already this quarter, because, March, the third quarter, whatnot. New Year's is coming up, by the way, in about, 9 days? What's today? Today is the 7th. All right, maybe not in 9 days, like 13 days or something, 14, 12 days. But banks have already collapsed. Last year, more banks collapsed, and I think I showed you how like 7 banks collapsed in 2024. There is a global liquidity crisis. I keep telling you guys, don't leave your money in your banks. Keep only your bill money in the banks. Keep your stuff in cash. Keep your stuff in investments. Buy some gold, buy some silver, right? Half the people, there's a couple of investments I wanted to do. One of them pays like 10% APY. I'm actually going to stop. I'm not going to do it because I want things to cool down with this war and this Strait of Hormuz, and with this gas prices. We might have even a more liquidity crisis, and I don't want to invest and put something in risk. I think it's high risk to invest in certain things right now. If you guys are going to invest, I'm not going to tell you too much to do with money, but let it bleed out a little bit more. I think we can get better prices on everything. Let it bleed out. Whether you do the crypto, whether you're investing in stocks, whether you're investing in oil, let it bleed out a little bit more and get the best prices you can, and then maybe after that take the ride all the way up, right? Let it bleed out. I hope it bleeds out, because once everything, I got a whole bunch of things I need to get done on my list. It's going to take a couple months. Oh, I'm going to be investing big time. Passive income is on, right? So another one, Blackstone, another similar fund, 7.9% of redemption requests they wanted out, and they had to raise the withdrawal cap and use their personal funds. And why do you think BlackRock didn't have the money? Because they take the money and they invest it in other things, and they loan the money out. And so when it's a big Ponzi scheme. They're not expecting, just like an insurance company, they're not expecting for everyone to get in an accident at the same day and everyone need to get thousands of dollars to fix this. Oh, he'll take something out, or we'll pay this out, we'll pay this out. If everyone died today and their kids wanted an insurance that has insurance, and kids wanted to withdraw their funds, they won't have the money, because this, once again, it's a Ponzi scheme. So why will BlackRock do that? Because they don't have the money, and they're the biggest ones. There's no other bigger on the planet than them. So be wise. The economy is going to get worse. It's been getting worse ever since the COVID. The economy has never got better. So use your money wisely. Think of ways to make passive income. Think of ways to make your money make more money. Get a side hustle if you can. Figure things out. Don't assume your job is always going to be there. Don't assume AI cannot take your job. I do construction, and there's already AI in the job. AI dictates when to start laying off people. Depending on the phase of the job, AI dictates the manpower, when to hire and when to let people go. So sometimes AI will say lay off 10% of the crew size to make more money for the job things. And then the coworkers are like, they had to lay off 10% and we're not even this far with the job. How is AI going to know how far or how difficult this task is going to take? And yeah, it's not there, but I'm letting you know there's companies that use AI simply for employment. And so when they say 15%, it doesn't, well, I'm a hard worker, and that, maybe that will save you, maybe that won't. Maybe that will save you, maybe that won't. Because you're going to find out very soon that everyone's going to be a hard worker. Because this is going to be the new standard. Either you're homeless or you're a hard worker. Pretty soon that's going to be the standard. You're going to be fighting for the few jobs that is left. So being a hard worker is just going to be the baseline. You're not going to stand out by being a hard worker. You better get those extra certs. You better have some extra knowledge. You better be able to do something that other people can't do, because being a hard worker just don't cut it anymore. It don't. I know. So it worked for, in this situation worked. I went to their shop and they liked me. So I'm doing pretty good there. But it doesn't work. You have to do something else, or have a side hustle, or invest. You will not save your way into wealth. You could only invest your way into wealth. There is no one that is wealthy that did not invest. Whether you invested in Apple or you invested in yourself and created Apple. Whether I invest in my own business or I invest in other businesses, you're still going to have to invest. This saving money makes no sense. If you have $10,000 in the bank and inflation is 6% per year, you lost $600 worth of buying power. So this year you lost $600, and then the next year you lost $600. Even though you still have $10,000, you have less than you have $8,000 in 2 years. You have $8,800 worth of buying power, because it's 6% interest per year in inflation. So that $10,000 in 2 years is only worth a little over $8,000 worth of buying power, because everything's going up in price. So what are you going to do? And if you have this job that pays $30 an hour and inflation is 6%, and you're not getting a 6% income, raising income every year to keep up with inflation, you're actually making less money because your money has less buying power. So what are you going to do to combat that? What are you going to do? You're going to have to figure it out. Join the union. We get raises. We get good raises. We keep up with inflation and probably beat it. We probably beat the 6%. I personally think. I don't know. So join the union. You'll keep up with inflation at least. Or you at least not, the gap won't get too big. So with all that said and being done, keep standing. Don't drop standards. Stay encouraged. You're blessed if you keep the Most High's commandments. Don't let negativity rule you and put chains on you, whether it's with people, places, or things. Stay positive, look for blessings, and look at the good things in life. All that said being done, keep standing, don't drop standards. Give the Almighty a hand clap. Shalom.